Hey guys, our project name is XPTokenomics and this is for the Perion bounty. So as it was instructed that we need to include tokenomics in our submission. So we have written this paper in which we have explained tokenomics of this token XP token, and we have explained each and everything which we could. We have even explained the security concerns. Everything is included in this paper, as well as we have written a contract, EVM based contract for this token, and included every functionality related to tokenomics in it. And if you want to look into the contract which we have deployed for this token with the code, then you can look into this address. So as it was told that all contracts should be strictly deployed on lightning, so we have deployed this contract on lightning. You can look into this address on the uh, pegasus.lightning.io, and you can enter this address and you will get the deployed contract. And also if you want detailed explanation of contract, we have also included that in our paper. I'll give you the overview of what XP token is first of all. So it's a universal solution for all in-app purchases in games. What does that mean? We'll explain that. So XP token is basically an attempt to become a standard for all in-app purchases in all games. But you'll ask, how is that possible? Because that idea sounds very rudimentary. But we came up with a system which can be something which makes XP token a standard. So let's try to understand why that can happen. So first of all, we know that in-app purchases are, they are very important. They provide revenue for game developers. Most of the time for in-app purchases, what game developers do is they create their own proprietary tokens. That used to happen in Web3 or Web2 also. So like in Clash of Clans, you have Clash of Clans gems. So these Clash of Clans gems, you have to buy these gems first, and using these gems only you can do in-app purchases. And Clash of Clans also incentivize players with these gems, so that more and more players play Clash of Clans, and there will be more engagement because they'll be getting gems which can be used for in-app purchases. So this was a very good strategy, because not only you bring more money, not only you motivate more people to make in-app purchase, but you also bring more engagement to the game, because you are incentivizing users without actually ever giving them hard cash. But this model had some issues. Game developers, first of all, control the distribution of all tokens, everything. They have full control over it, of course. And players who earn these tokens, they cannot sell these tokens, or they cannot spend these tokens on other games. Okay. And they cannot send these tokens. Only way if you want to sell this token to anyone else is by selling their entire account. And of course you cannot use these tokens to in other games, or sell these tokens to players of other games. So you cannot sell your Clash of Clans gems to someone who is playing Fortnite. They are not, you cannot use them in Fortnite. And last thing which is bad for game developers are not sure if they will end up having this proprietary token no one is using. But with a universal token you can solve all these problems. But you'll ask, why a universal token? That is a very simple idea, but devil is in the details. We'll try to understand how this idea can make this into a possible standard for all in-app purchases. So XP token is basically universal token or currency that player can use for in-app purchase. I explained that. Let's jump right here. It is made up of two essential components: XPDAO and XP token contract. XPDAO is nothing but it is an open source community discussion, because in XP token ecosystem there'll be voting. We'll be explaining why there'll be voting later. But for these votings, community voting, there'll be some community discussions, of course. For these there'll be XPDAO, and of course for open discussions, Reddit can be a good platform, Discord can be a good platform, or any else platform. And then the other thing is XP token contract. This is where we have written the code. So this is a contract where there are functionalities like raising proposal for minting rights by game developers, community voting, granting minting rights with predefined cap, managing storage. So you see a lot of new terms here. uh, you have to make sure that you understand these terms are very important. Raising proposal for minting rights is the first thing which you need to understand. Community voting and granting minting rights, these are some of the few pillars why XP token is something which can have a real world value, and why it can become a standard. And as I told, this contract is deployed, you can look into it. And we have also broken down the code, and now I'm going to explain how XP token ecosystem actually works. So this is the UML diagram. So now how XP token actually works. So XP token, first of all, is not pre-mined. So this is a very important thing to understand. It is not pre-mined. So you'll ask, then if XP token is not pre-mined, then how is XP token minted? So special minting rights are granted to game developers after community vote by token holders. Okay. So what happens is, long story short, the only way to earn XP tokens, by earning I don't mean taking these tokens from someone else. When you are earning tokens, it means that these tokens are newly minted for you. Like in Bitcoin, when you are earning Bitcoin, it doesn't mean you are taking Bitcoin from someone, but system creates new Bitcoin for you. Like the only way you can earn Bitcoin in Bitcoin ecosystem is by mining Bitcoin. So the only way you can earn XP tokens is by playing games. So I'll be understanding how we make this possible. So the only way, first of all, look into this line. The only way XP tokens can be issued is by players playing games in the ecosystem and earning these newly minted tokens for themselves. But one thing to understand is how players will, let's say player is playing a game, but how will the blockchain know that we have to mint? So this is where we have developed this mechanism. What happens is, special minting rights are granted to game developer after a community vote by token holders. So first there'll be a community voting. Game developer will basically ask for some minting rights, and if community voting happens and they win, and they win, let's say 50%, 85%, so there are different voting caps which they need to fulfill. We'll be explaining this later. They can have minting rights. So game developers are only allowed to use these minting rights for minting new tokens directly to players through some incentivizing mechanisms. Let's say player winning a game session or seasonal awards. So using these minting rights, they'll have to incorporate these minting rights in their game, and they can only use these minting rights to mint tokens directly to the player using some incentivizing mechanism. So let's say there's a game in which cars are racing. So the car which wins a particular race, let's say that player who was playing this game, let's say there were three players and one player won a game session. So that player will be rewarded with some XP tokens, and game developers will have to include a mechanism which will mint tokens at that very moment for that player. But now a very important question arises: what if game developer just abuses this power? So we'll explain what if they just abuse the minting rights. What if they just mint tokens for themselves? So we'll be explaining how that is actually avoided within contract itself, and how that cannot happen. So first of all, let's try to understand how things will go. But you know that there are no pre-mined tokens, but you need to start the ecosystem, right? You need to have some tokens for starting the ecosystem, because there are no minting rights to anyone, because there are no token holders. Because for holding tokens, you need tokens, and there is no pre-mine. So to solve that issue, there will be an airdrop, but this will be a very stringent process. We'll be explaining how this airdrop will happen. This airdrop, in contract, it we have written a code such a way that this airdrop can happen only once. Once this airdrop happens, you can never do another airdrop in XP token ecosystem. Second thing, you can only airdrop 100 people. So you can see that in the contract itself, in blockchain itself, we are checking airdrop can only happen one time, can only happen 200 people, and it strictly distributes only 10 XP tokens to each person. So this is in code itself. Okay, so now you can see that airdrop is a very strict process in this ecosystem, and it happens only one time, only 200 people, and only 10 XP tokens. Once airdrop is completed, no more airdrops can be ever done. This is ensured by smart contract. Now once we have the ecosystem started, we have some people, we have some token holders. Now there will be the concept of minting rights proposal. Let's say the ecosystem has grown a little bit. Now game developers will ask for minting rights with a fixed cap. They can ask, minting cap can be low, medium, high. Low means developer is asking for rights to mint 1000 XP. Medium means developer is asking for rights to mint 10,000 XP. High means they are asking to mint 100,000 XP. So you can see for higher minting cap, even a higher percentage of votes are needed. So it's in game developers best interest to not ask what they cannot have. So this is the whole contract code for minting, asking for minting rights. So basically asking for minting rights will be adding a new minting rights proposal, and proposer is game developer, and minting cap, as we discussed, can be low, medium, high. So game developers, after creating a proposal, they have to spread the word in community discussion, XP token community, so that they can bring attention to the proposal and gather votes. So now you need votes. So once proposal is added, anyone with only more than 10 XP can vote. So you need to have more than 10 XP in your accounts if you want to vote. This is ensured by contract code. And once you vote, your vote will be added for that proposal. Now activate proposal. Now anyone can try to activate this proposal, but for this proposal to come into action, which means giving minting rights to the proposer, there should be enough votes. So for low minting cap, at least 50% of weighted votes out of all possible votes should be there. So I'll be explaining what weighted votes is and what all possible weighted votes is. For medium minting cap, at least 80% of weighted votes out of all possible weighting votes. For high minting cap proposal, at least 95% of weighted votes out of all possible weighted votes should be there. So you can see for high minting cap, a very high percentage of votes are required. But now I'll be explaining what are weighted votes and what are all possible weighted votes. So weighted vote means that voters with more balance will have more importance in their vote. So if you have more balance, your vote is more important. And all possible weighted vote mean that weighted vote of all people who could have voted. It means that all people who have more than 10 XP in their balance, they're all potential voters. So the total number of magnitude of these votes which you could have, the maximum number of votes, the maximum number of not only votes but weighted votes which a proposal can have, that is basically all possible weighted votes. So that ratio will be taken. You can see this activate proposal function. So once enough votes are gathered, a proposal can be activated. Now it is very important to note that after the proposal is activated, proposer will have rights to mint tokens for their players and incentivize them. So you can see that a very small cap is allowed, which means that let's say 1000 tokens are allowed. So you can only mint 1000 tokens in your game to players using some incentivizing mechanism within the game, not manually. A proposal can mint tokens for up to 30 days using an active proposal from the date it was activated. So let's say your proposal was activated on 3rd January, then you can only mint till 3rd February. If you are not able to mint all tokens, doesn't matter, after 3rd February that proposal will be inactive. You cannot mint tokens from that proposal now. But why is there a 30 days limit? We'll be understanding later. This is to solve a security concern. So now let's try to understand. Proposer can only directly mint these tokens to players through incentive mechanisms within the game, and they cannot mint them these tokens for themselves. But let's discuss how the ecosystem avoids proposers from using the power to mint tokens once they have certain rights. So once a proposal is active, proposers can mint tokens for only 30 days. However, it is possible that the proposer abuses this power and mints for themselves, or they can mint tokens for fake player accounts under their control, or they may not follow a good incentivizing mechanism and end up minting tokens unfairly to players. To avoid this, some measures are taken. First of all minted tokens are logged for 30 days. Now, this means that these tokens do belong to players and no one can do anything about this. But these tokens are logged and players cannot transfer them here or there for 30 days. So, technically, what happens with the contract is no new tokens are minted for this 30-day window. So, no new tokens are introduced in ecosystem. And what happens is there is an assurance that new tokens will be minted after 30 days for these players. So right now no new token is minted, but you can say a promise token is minted. You can say this in such way that it is assured that after 30 days a new token will be minted for players who have earned their token. Now, within this 30-day window, the community can see for themselves. As I told, that a proposal is only active for 30 days. So, as long as proposer has minting rights, these tokens, any token which they have minted, is not actually minted, not actually introduced in ecosystem, but an assurance that these tokens will be minted. And within this 30-day window, community can see for themselves. They can check if the game developer is following a valid token incentive mechanism and not minting. And even a crypto watchtower, if you know what a watchtower is, can also be used to keep the game developers in check. If community believes that game developer is abusing their minting rights power, they can democratically invalidate their proposal. And all tokens which were ever minted by the proposal to anyone will be burned. So what happens is that for this to happen, we have also created, anybody can vote for invalidation of a proposal. So a community discussion, let's say, happens, and one community member sees that this game developer is actually malicious, so they'll spread the word, and there can be a token, there can be a vote for invalidation, and once enough votes are gathered, invalidate proposal can be called, and proposal will be invalidated, and all tokens ever minted by this proposer will be burned. Now, for low minting cap, you need 50% of votes to cancel the proposal. For medium, 45%. For high, 40%. For high minting, you need less votes to cancel, because uh, high minting cap proposers can have a lot of influence on ecosystem, so action should be taken quickly. Maybe it may not be in ecosystem's best interest to gather every vote. So cheating will, this is a very important point, which I think not a cryptographically secure thing, but I think this can also be helpful. Cheating will also bring a bad reputation to game developers in the community, so that is not something which they'll like to do. Now, how do players actually claim their XP tokens? So once 30 days are over, the minting rights for proposal are invalidated. Now proposer cannot mint any tokens, but this also means that all tokens ever minted by proposer are now considered valid. Now there's no way to burn these tokens. So now anybody can release all these tokens for this proposal using this function. When this happens, you will see that actually in now for real the tokens will be minted to the account, and new minted tokens will be introduced to ecosystem and to these players. But a very important thing to understand is what actually gives XP token its value, because XP token is actually a cryptocurrency. So what is giving it real world value? Because this is a utility token. This is not a token which will have a speculative value, or just because people want to buy or sell. So let's try to understand. So as told, this is a utility token. They are to be used for in-app purchases in games. So let's try to understand what's happening. Let's say in XPTO, so this some maths. I won't go into maths, but I have explained what I'm trying to say using these mathematical equations. Let's discuss why we need to maximize this. This is a delta function which I have created to check the efficiency of ecosystem, and using this delta function you can actually check if token can have real world value or not. So let's take example of Clash of Clans. So this delta function is actually I have broken down using simple natural language here. So let's take example of Clash of Clans. Players are interfaced with gems for playing, but to make any in-app purchase you need a lot of gems. You need to spend too much time playing the game. However, you can buy many gems for not a lot of money. Let's try to understand what this is. So you can earn 100 to 140 gems per month in Clash of Clans, but you can spend $1 and buy 100 and 140 gems easily. So you understand what I'm trying to say, that 100 to 140 gems per month without spending any dollars, but 100 to 140 gems you can get by just spending $1. In United States, I guess minimum wage is $12 or $13. You so you can understand that this doesn't even cost 3 minutes of your life, or 6 minutes, 3 minutes of your life, and you need to spend a month in Clash of Clans if you don't want to spend money. So you see this absurd difference. This is what actually is giving these gems their value, and this is what we are trying to maximize in delta function. You need to spend month playing Clash of Clans to earn gems. Okay, this is an absurd difference. Spending a month to earn gems which you can buy with $1. This is absurd difference in the amount of tokens you can earn and the amount of tokens you have to spend is what we are trying to maximize. Delta is a formula which can mathematically calculate this difference within the ecosystem for all games. So this is how I've broken down this as natural language. By ensuring players do not earn too many tokens while playing, we also ensure fewer tokens are minted, because the only way tokens are minted ever in this ecosystem, this is the only way tokens are minted, is by players playing the game. Fewer tokens will be minted in the ecosystem, and by ensuring in-app purchase require a large amount of XP tokens. So anyways, the ecosystem will enforce it itself that game developers, it's in their best interest, they actually ask for a very large amount of XP tokens for even small purchases. We ensure player engage in more in playing games because they'll need a lot of XP tokens to make any purchase. Players buy tokens from someone willing to sell in open market because it's very difficult to earn any significant XP token, and even if they want to buy, they'll only buy those XP tokens which were earned by other people. So this will drastically increase XP token value. And game developers, because they are charging too many XP tokens for even little purchase, they'll be incentivized. Game developers earn large amounts of XP. So by maximizing delta, we basically ensure that there are more buyers than sellers for XP tokens always. We also ensure game developers are incentivized enough. So this other function, this is a very simple function, so this you can understand. Let tokens spent on in-app purchase in a game be spend X, and total tokens earned by all players in a game be earned X. So for every game we also need to maximize sigma. Sigma is spent as spend X by earned X, which basically means that a lot of more tokens should be spent for in-app purchases in a game rather than the tokens which are earned by players from that game. So we need to also maximize this to ensure token has a very good real world value. So one thing which you will try to think is, why should token holders allow minting rights? Because once you have given minting rights, they'll introduce new tokens to the ecosystem. This can increase inflation, potentially cause reduction in token value, leading to loss for token holders. Or this is not the case, because this is not the case. The power to give out minting rights lies in hands of token holders only. They can decide to grant minting rights to game where tokens are incentivized fairly in a controlled manner, in games where in-app purchases are frequent, and these games actually can bring more in-app purchases, which will lead to increase in token demand, hence increase in token value. So this is not something which will happen in ecosystem if token holders are uh, making good decisions. Actually, token value will only increase. And so the lastly, the conclusion. So XP token can be a universal token to incentivize players to make in-app purchases irrespective of any game throughout ecosystem. And game developers can earn a good amount of XP from an already established ecosystem rather than relying on their proprietary token to work. So they can just incorporate XP token in their game, all game developers, instead of developing a new token and hoping it will work. An XP token can be sold in open market to players who are willing to buy these tokens by other players, or even game developers who earn these tokens by selling assets. So game developers also earn an XP token. So these tokens can be sold in open market to other players who want to make in-app purchase, and players can buy XP token from open market instead of spending countless hour trying to earn these tokens by playing games and make quick in-app purchases. And finally, XP token holders own the power in the ecosystem and control minting rights. For me, this is a very democratic system, as democratic as it can be, and it introduces not only benefit to society, but a token which actually doesn't have any speculative value, but a value tied with some service, with some utility. So that's why I think this token is something really good and something which should exist for the gaming ecosystem. Thank you.